Downcountry, the category everybody loves to hate. Some of you might think we had enough categories already, so why did we need another one? Well, some might hate the name, but plenty of you, myself included, love the bikes this controversial category has spawned. They combine lightweight and efficient pedaling performance with beefed up downhill capabilities and just love to be ridden flat out, up or down. As an ode to these downhillified cross-country rippers, in no particular order, here's 5 we think are worthy of your attention. Transition Spur needs no introduction. Even 4 years after it was released, this is still one of the best downcountry bikes around. Our technical editor-in-chief, Rob Weaver, awarded the bike a rare 5 out of 5 rating and said that the Spur manages to balance speed and efficiency with more than enough downhill composure that will put a lot of longer travel trail bikes to shame. I still own my beloved first generation Spur, and now there's a new one. I say new, but this update, if you can call it that, is really a case of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Transition has wisely left pretty much every detail of the bike the same. So what have they actually changed? Well, there's now a SRAM's UDH interface at the dropout, so you can now use the brand's T-type transmissions. This is a really good move, as it's the only real quibble that I have with the original. To go with this, there's 2 new frame colours, but only 1 build kit available at present along with a frame set. The geometry is identical to the first generation bike, with a 66° head angle, 480mm reach on a size large, and a steepish 76° seat angle, well, 75.9 if you want to be pedantic. Travel is still 120mm at both ends, though it's now controlled by Fox suspension units rather than rock shocks, with a 34 fork up front and a float DPS shock out back. The rear brake is still routed externally too, with the gear and dropper cable going through the frame and thankfully not the headset. The $7,699 or £7,999 XO T-type build is the all-singing, all-dancing affair, so I'd be going for the frame set option and building up myself. Transition says that cheaper build options will be available with the new colours and rear end later this year, but if you can do without the UDH and fresh colours, there's some great deals on the original around too. Given the only difference is the rear end though, it is a shame that Transition won't be offering UDH rear triangles for sale to existing Spur owners, so maybe we can start a petition or something. Do you think the Spur still belongs at the top of the pile, and should more brands offer hop-up upgrades for existing bikes to bring them up to date with the latest standards? Let me know in the comments. Specialized Epic Evo is another proven performer, and the latest Epic 8 version steps things up even further than ever. Whereas the old Evo had more rear travel and a different rear triangle than the regular Epic, the new Epic 8 shares the same frame and 120mm of rear bounce. Where the difference lies is in the component department. The 120mm RockShox SID fork is swapped out for a 130mm Travel Fox 34, and the custom SID shock is again changed to a Fox unit, that float shock making another appearance as it did on the Spur. Both units are also no longer hooked up to a twist lock remote on the handlebar either. You'll have to reach down and adjust them manually. The longer fork slackens the head angle to 65.4 degrees in the low position, which is brilliant, but it also slackens the seat angle out too, which is not so brilliant. The tyres are also beefed up to specialised grippier Purgatory up front and a ground control out back. The Purgatory uses the brand's softest T9 compound, the same as you'll find on its downhill and enduro tyres, so you can see just how aggressive they've gone with the tyre choice. Elsewhere, you'll find SRAM's Burley Code stealth brakes with big rotors and a slightly wider handlebar with a higher rise. As the frame is the same as the regular Epic 8, you still get the swapped down tube storage and all the updates seen there too. While the range-topping Epic 8 Evo Pro is a stunner, the smart money is on the $5,000 or £4,250 Epic Evo Comp. It shares the same 11M carbon frame, but comes with a regular non-wireless drivetrain and less carbon bits and pieces elsewhere. If you want a bike you can shred in the week and still race on the weekends, the Epic 8 Evo is worth a very close look indeed. Canyon's first attempt at a more capable version of its Lux cross-country race bike didn't go down well with Tom Marvin, one of our senior technical editors. Tacking a new front end and a longer stroke shock to the racing model's rear triangle seems a good idea, but the result was arguably a bike that didn't go far enough to broaden its skill set. Tom felt the geometry was overly steep and the seat tube was far too long and too slack, and the top tube felt massively stretched out as a result. The all-new Lux Trail though is a completely different beast. The frame is designed from the ground up, with neither end of the bike being shared with its stablemate. This is a specific new trail slayer. The front end is a touch slacker at 67 degrees and the seat tube is 76 degrees, a full 1.5 degrees steeper than the old bike. The seat tube is also much shorter at 450mm on a size large. This brings it much closer to the other bikes in this list, highlighting its improved capabilities on paper. 120mm of travel up front and 115mm out back are also right in the ballpark. There's internal frame storage in the down tube and a neat multi-tool hidden under the top tube. Our other senior technical editor, Alex Evans, tested the Lux Trail CFR Limited, an £8,099 flagship. He was very impressed, noting its fast and efficient ride and brilliant spec. Despite being wildly expensive for a bicycle before you say it is actually a lot cheaper than similarly spec'd bikes from other brands. My money though would be on the $3,999 or £3,499 CF7 model, which packs a slightly heavier frame and cheaper spec, but should offer the same rapid all-round ride without the rapid decrease in your bank balance. You'll get the same suspension design, more reasonably priced but still high performance parts, all for less than half the price. You can't really argue with that. The blurred line between trail bikes and downcountry bikes is one of the reasons some don't like the term downcountry. Downcountry bikes are generally less affordable too, as by design they should be lightweight, and we all know that to save weight, you often need to spend money. Merida's 120 is one bike that aims to change that, blurring trail bike geometry and downcountry travel with a cost-conscious aluminium frame and sturdy build kit. At 15.3 kilos for a large 120-700 model we tested last year, it's definitely not lightweight. However, with the base 120-300 costing just £1,900, you can definitely call it cheap. Our pick though would be that range-topping 700 model though. With 130mm RockShox Pike Select fork up front to prop up the 66-degree head angle, teamed with a RockShox Deluxe shock out back, it has a capable suspension to let you throw that weight around a bit. Add in an NX drivetrain and DB8 brakes, also from the SRAM stable, and it's not bad value when you can go into a shop, buy it and have that more hands-on buying and after-sales experience. My colleague Tom Marvin enjoyed testing the bike during the test I mentioned before, awarding 4 out of 5 stars and reveling in its capable geometry. If you want to hear more about his thoughts on the bike, check out the section on the bike in our 2024 Headliner Bike Test video with the link in the description or the pop-up banner up there. Now, I always get called out for not including a giant in this list, so this time around, I haven't forgotten them. Its Trance model is nearing 2 decades old now, but the recipe is still much the same as it was way back in 2005 when it was first launched. It's an all-round bike in every sense of the word and is based around the brand's signature Maestro suspension system. Everything has just been bulked up a little bit compared to the original. The wheels are now 29 inches front and rear rather than 26. Travel is up to 120mm out back and 130mm up front from 100mm all round, and the geometry is of course a whole lot longer, lower and slacker. That up-to-date geometry is also adjustable too, via a flip chip at the pivot between the upper rocker link and the seat stays. This switches the head angle between 65.5 and 66.2 degrees and alters the seat angle by the same amount, from 76.3 degrees to 77 degrees. The reach also changes from 472 to 480mm on a size large, so it's right in the ballpark with its rivals. You can buy the Trance in aluminium or advanced carbon form, with prices ranging from $2,800 or £3,299 to a heady $10,500 or £10,999. Of the 5 models though, it's the cheapest carbon version, the catchy name Trance Advanced Pro 29-2, that would be my personal pick. It also gets carbon wheels and decent Fox suspension, so you get the good bits where you need it, while the drivetrain and braking is taken care of by Shimano's Dior and SLX ranges. I think it looks a decent all-rounder and is definitely not one to forget about. The geometry looks solid, the price is reasonable, the components are decent, and Giant's Maestro suspension is a proven performer. It also does without Fox's live valve suspension, which technical editor-in-chief Rob Weaver felt added complication to the bike back when he reviewed the Advanced Pro 29-1 a few years ago. Just goes to show then that the latest tech doesn't always make a bike better. There you are, the 5 downcountry bikes I think should be on your radar, and I want to know what you think of my choices. Do you own any of the bikes mentioned, or have I missed one you think we should include in our next top 5 video? Let me know in the comments, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and if you want to see 5 burlier bikes we think you should check out, then check out that video up there.